Hi there viewers, and welcome to this current reading of Earth predictions using the Psi cards. Today is July the 8th and this reading will take us through to about July the 18th. Just going very briefly over last week's reading, as I mentioned I wasn't actually available to put on all the annotations towards the end of the week because I was away, so there are quite a few blanks missing from that video. If you were following the news yourself, you would have been able to tie the cards into relevant happenings. Some of the most interesting, I think, were the yes and no card, where I said that there was a feeling of as if we were going in one direction and then were stopping and turning the other way and saying no, this isn't the way we wanted to go. And a classic case of that was the Katie Holmes-Tom Cruise divorce that was announced. And one of the other cards that I felt quite interesting was from the Rider-Waite deck. It was the Judgment card, and I wondered at the time what that may have been. And when the announcement from the top physicists around the world was made late last week that the Higgs boson particle had been found, I felt that kind of really matched the Judgment card. It's going to be the beginning of a whole new understanding of the universe and matter and where we head with that. However, not necessarily all things come good from our findings along the way of human knowledge, because we can go back to the splitting of the atom about 60 years ago, I believe. And that, to me, was a negative predominantly for mankind, because ever since we've known how to do that, we seem to have used it as a negative form of energy, or at least there are negative connotations used with it. So not necessarily all the information we gain we're using in a positive matter, but nonetheless that was a particularly exciting event, the Higgs boson particle being found. Oh, which brings me interestingly enough to the beginning of this week's reading, and the first card that came out was the message, which we see here right in front of us. And the message, quite specifically, that's a bottle with a little message in it, has to be pertaining to a message of some sort. So again, I think there's a whole energy carrying on there about the Higgs boson particle. That was a really big, important message for mankind. Another jump and forward in understanding scientific and the nature of physics. There could be another message coming, something relatively big. I think there is going to be. We see, I think it's Lybia is in the current realm of going through elections, a very new election phase for them. We've still got plenty of change taking place up through a lot of the European countries. So there will be some messages delivered that will have fairly big global importance around the world. It just seems to be a period where we're changing so rapidly, we almost can't keep up with everything that's going on. It's like you could do this reading and there are so many things that are occurring on a day-to-day basis. Time is speeding up in essence, and so are the things that are happening in the spaces of time. It's becoming profoundly quick, and in any one day so many things are happening globally, and that's just part of that whole nature of moving forward, and we are going through really pronounced changes at this portion of time in our lives, or in the life of the planet as we know it. We also look at this card, we see fish, so I'm thinking, could there be a marine loss of life again, like a large fish death, or whales or dolphins during the time span of this reading? And if we also look at the card, it denotes sea issues, because look at all the fishing and sea related articles on that card. So that brings me back again to thinking about the sea. Could there be a storm related to the sea globally? I know America in particular seems to be having really severe storms all the time, tornado type land-based storms, but I'm thinking too that there may be something related with the sea. We'll just play that one out there. The next card that came out was the no. Well, you know my feelings on that. I don't think it's a good card. It means, ooh, and I say this every time, I'm not sure why, but I say hold on to your hats because something's coming and you ain't gonna like it. So something big again for this week. In New Zealand alone, in the past 3 or 4 days, or it could be slightly longer, we've had a 7-point earthquake, a 5.3, a 4.8, that's just within days, and another 5 point something this morning, so we're really fair rocking ourselves down here in New Zealand. Not that I feel any of them. I'm sort of slightly off the earthquake belt, which I'm very thankful for, because they've been incredibly hard for a lot of New Zealanders. The next card that came out was the Beauty card. Now, I was waiting for this one to come out for some time, because I'm really not sure quite how to interpret her. She does depict, obviously, a beauty, and a well-off or notable beauty. So that came to mind immediately. Would it be someone fairly well known globally that something is going to be in the news about, that is unexpected? So we'll keep our eyes on that while this reading is standing. It could be political, or it could be someone from the Hollywood type famous end. Although this card does depict that older part of the globe again. We go back to the antiquity, looks back through that not medieval, but through parts of the globe where the older buildings are, heading up around through, again, Europe, I guess, and up, not even so much the Middle East. This is more through that Europe type feeling, because that building there looks very much like the next card that came out, which was the Peace card, which really denotes an old church, a beautiful cathedral building perhaps. So I kind of, those two coming next to each other, tied themselves back into that whole area through Europe. And although the card says peace, I don't think that's what it means in the instance of these earth readings. It would be nice if it did. I think we should perhaps remove the word peace from the bottom. We'll see. I do note that there are sun rays coming into this card, and they are hitting the beautiful oval rose window at the end. So again, that brings me to think of sun activity, solar flares, CMEs that hit Earth that are maybe really pronounced. And also I note this reflection from the beautiful stained glass window on the ground, and I thought to myself, it's like that whole wheel issue again, as if a turning phase or a repeating pattern. So something global, universal is coming in again this week from above, from the heavens. And of course, if we think of the whole church card, it takes us to the heavens, doesn't it? A lot of people associate church with God or heaven or their belief systems. And the card equals 19, which is comes down to a 10 or a 1, which is endings and new beginnings. So I think something fairly big again this week is going to take place that perhaps stems from a universal point of origin. And I also wondered if we've done with the fire issue. That kind of looks a bit like a fire as well. We've had so many big fires in the last week, which of course the warrior card does. He shows things that there's potential for fires, and he certainly did. He did last week. The final card that came out, which we had last week, was the death card. We couldn't avoid that. There will be deaths, and there will be deaths in mass again, because that's what this card shows. It's not individual deaths, it's deaths of groups of people. So if we add up the or animals, deaths of a lot of things, belief systems as well. Well, that all ties in together.
So everyone, that's the reading for this week. I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Much light, love and blessings to you all.